G'day and welcome to this FileMaker video introducing the FileMaker 14 platform. Thank you for taking the time to consider the FileMaker platform for development of your custom business apps. My name's David Head. I'm a consulting engineer for FileMaker based in our Sydney office in Australia. In this short video, we'll work through some important introductory information about the FileMaker platform. We start by looking at custom FileMaker apps and what's inside FileMaker files. Then we look at the various products of the FileMaker platform to consider the many options for deployment. And we wrap up by looking at the real advantages of developing custom apps in FileMaker. So let's get started. Very often I get asked the question, what does FileMaker do? Well, that's a little like asking what you can paint with a set of artist paints. What you've been given are some materials and tools, and what you'll create will depend very much on your skills and experience. If I asked you to paint a picture of a house, which one of these do you think would be closest to what you could produce? Similarly, if I gave you the tools and materials to build a house, how would you go with that? Maybe you'd come up with some of these classic pieces of carpentry. But seriously, FileMaker Pro is a tool that can be used to create anything from a simple app for logging expenses through to a complex patient medical record system for a hospital. The complexity and worth of the final app depends very much on the skills and experience of the developer or the team of developers who work on it. As with any tool, it takes time and some dedication to learn how to use it. But the great news is that the entry point for FileMaker is very easy. You can build some great apps with little effort. And if you get hooked, as I did, you could even become a professional FileMaker developer. So what exactly is a custom app? Simply, it's an app built to meet your specific needs and processes in your business. At the other end of the scale, we have so-called off-the-shelf apps. These tend to be built to fit a need for a wider audience. Since they target a large customer base, they can be quite inexpensive to purchase. However, you have little or no control over how they work and what features they provide. They may have features you don't use, and they may have some features you need but simply aren't there. And you may need to change your processes to fit the app. Building a custom app to fit your business would be the preferred path for most people. But you may be thinking you don't have the time, the budget, or the skills to do that. Well, that's where the FileMaker platform can help. So what does a FileMaker app look like? Here's a folder containing files of several types, and you might recognize many of them by their file extension. DocX for a Word document, XLSX for an Excel workbook, PDF for a PDF file. And you can see the FileMaker app there with a file extension of FMP12. If we were to double-click any of these files, they'd be open with their default clients, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Acrobat, or FileMaker Pro. Creating a FileMaker app is similar to creating an Excel workbook. You essentially start with a blank file and start filling it in. However, a FileMaker app is more structured than a simple list in an Excel worksheet. Underlying a FileMaker app is a database engine. Moreover, it is a powerful relational database. And this means that you need to create one or more tables where records are stored. And then you create the fields to store the various pieces of data for each record. From then, filling in the data is just like typing into cells in a spreadsheet. The custom app that you create with FileMaker Pro is often just a single file like this one. So what's inside that file? Well, the simple answer is everything is inside that file. The first thing in the file is data. The names, email addresses, phone numbers of all of the people that you're going to record will be stored inside the file. Each separate piece of data, in this case about a person, is stored in a field and all grouped as a record. And as you saw before, we create a table and a field structure inside the file. The next thing you find in the file is the user interface. In FileMaker apps, this is created using layouts. Layouts enable the same record data to be displayed in different ways. So you may have a form type layout showing one record at a time, and a list showing multiple records. And you could set up a custom layout like this one for name tags. So layouts may show all the fields, just a selection, or no fields at all. And this is where you can get creative. Depending on your design skills, your layouts can be stunning or stunningly bad. But don't worry, FileMaker Pro really helps you out with design, with layout themes and object styles. The next thing is logic. In FileMaker apps, this comes in two forms: calculations and scripts. Calculations are seen in many areas of FileMaker app development. For example, you may have a calculation to deliver the full name of a person, simply their first name and last name separated by a space character. Or you may have a more complex calculation to calculate the age of a person from their date of birth. Scripts are short programs to automate procedures in your app. This simple example is used to create a record for a new person. It simply makes sure the user is in browse mode to create the record, goes to the best layout for doing so, creates a new record, and goes to the first field all ready for the user to start typing data. And this script might be attached to a button on a layout so the user can easily click at any time to create a new record. Putting some of this together, we have an important area of apps, and that's reporting. The act of reporting combines the data, the interface, and the logic. Often, producing a report is done with a script that uses specific layouts and sets of data that may be sorted in a certain way. While creating the report may take some work, for a user it will be as simple as clicking a button to produce a phone list or name tags. Reports may also include charts to visualize the data, and reports can be sent to PDF or Excel format and can easily be emailed as an attachment right out of the database. A very important component of custom apps is security. Security is both authentication and authorization of users. Authentication is identifying and confirming who they are, and authorization is what they're allowed to do and see. Now, FileMaker apps handle these aspects of security with accounts for authentication, with usernames and passwords, and privilege sets for authorization, setting up what people can do and what they can see. So back to the original question, what's inside that FileMaker file? And as I said, the simple answer is everything is inside. So inside is the data structure, the user interface, the logic in calculations and also scripts, the required reporting processes, and the security settings, all bundled up inside a single file on your machine. So Given that we've created a FileMaker app, how do we deploy it? How do we get it to our users? The FileMaker Platform is known as client-server. While FileMaker apps may be deployed standalone to individual clients, most commonly they're hosted on a server so that user workgroups can access the app at the same time. So the client for standalone deployment is either FileMaker Pro, running on Windows or Mac desktop and laptop machines, or FileMaker Go, running on iPad, iPhone or iPod Touch devices. The FileMaker app is simply copied onto the device as you would any other file. If the same file is copied to, say, a Mac and an iPad, the data on each device is separately stored and managed. And that's the idea of standalone deployment. And this deployment method is great for single operators not needing to share data amongst a workgroup. But the more common scenario of shared deployment is for a workgroup. And this may be a couple of people, and it may be 20, 30, 50 people. We have a server machine running FileMaker Server, and the FileMaker app is loaded onto the FileMaker server and shared from there. Then we could have a user with a Mac and FileMaker Pro installed, and they're accessing the FileMaker app shared off the server. And we could have another user who's got FileMaker Pro installed on their Windows machine, and we could have many more desktop users. In fact, we support up to 250 FileMaker Pro users connected simultaneously to the same server. At the same time, we could also have iOS device users connected over the wireless network, accessing the FileMaker app with the free FileMaker Go client. And finally, when the app is hosted on FileMaker Server, it can be shared with FileMaker Web Direct through a web browser on Windows, Mac, iPad devices, or even Android tablets. In summary, at the heart of most FileMaker deployments will be a FileMaker server. And this is for hosting FileMaker apps that can be used by hundreds of people at the same time. FileMaker Server can run scheduled backups of hosted files, provide secure data transfer, share FileMaker apps to web browsers, and much more. The users of hosted apps may be using any of the three FileMaker clients: FileMaker Pro on Windows and Mac, FileMaker Go on iPad, iPhone and iPod Touch, and FileMaker Web Direct on Windows, Mac, iPad and Android tablets. FileMaker Pro is used for both creating and using FileMaker apps. One final product in the platform is FileMaker Pro Advanced. This is a FileMaker client, like FileMaker Pro, but with additional programming and development tools. FileMaker Pro Advanced will generally be used by any person actually developing FileMaker custom apps. The three phases of FileMaker app development are create, deploy, and consume. The FileMaker Pro products are used to create. FileMaker Server is used to deploy. And all these clients, FileMaker Pro, FileMaker Go, and FileMaker Web Direct, are used to consume FileMaker apps. So, what is the FileMaker Advantage? Well, the FileMaker platform combines data structure, interface, and logic to create a cohesive developer and user experience. Since these tools are available in a single platform, employing a separate database administrator, UI designer and programmer is not always necessary to create a business app. With the help of the tools and templates provided within FileMaker Pro, a single knowledge worker with a solid understanding of the FileMaker platform can create a custom app for their department or organisation. FileMaker apps can often be created in days or weeks rather than months or years. Modifications and feature additions can be done in minutes or hours. You can start small and grow your app over time. You might be the one to start development, learning the FileMaker platform as you go, and depending on your needs and that of your business, you may need to get a professional developer involved sooner or later. And when deploying custom FileMaker apps, you have a broad range of clients and platforms to choose from, and that's a great advantage. So where do you go from here? To see more about how you can build a FileMaker app, we've recorded webinars that you can access at filemaker.com/learning/webinars. For a detailed list of features of the most recent versions of FileMaker, go to the link shown or just Google FileMaker version comparison. And if you don't already have a FileMaker license, you can download a trial of FileMaker Pro 14 from filemaker.com/trial. It's a fully featured 30-day trial, so install it, try it out, and within the 30-day period, if you buy a license, you can simply upgrade your trial. No real installation required. We have a few different purchase options depending on how many licenses you want and what products you need. So you can visit the FileMaker store for pricing or simply call through to our Sydney office on any of these numbers. Our licensing managers will be happy to provide your best licensing options. If you have any questions, I'd be very happy to hear from you. This is my direct email, david_head@filemaker.com, so feel free to follow up on any questions you may have from this video. Once again, thanks very much for your time to consider the FileMaker platform for your custom business apps.